Urban Rural Action is a national nonprofit organization that partners with communities across the United States to foster the community strength and resilience necessary to address our most urgent challenges together. Their cross-partisan civic participation programs bring together individuals from different ideological backgrounds, racial identities, generations, and geographical locations, among other differences. We believe that true community strength emerges from a genuine relationships, enhanced collaboration skills, and a willingness to explore differing viewpoints on critical societal issues. By working hand in hand with local community organizations such as Suicide Prevention of York, we collectively address urgent challenges that impact the well-being of our communities.
One significant initiative is with our Urban Rural Action Team in York, Pennsylvania, partnering with Suicide Prevention of York, focusing on having a safe and strong community. This team is focused on a deeply pressing issue, the incidence of suicides across all age groups within York County.
Our project's ambitious yet vital goal is to achieve a measurable reduction in these incidents, thereby saving countless lives. To accomplish this, we are developing and implementing videos on various social media platforms of individuals who are affected by suicide and suicide attempts.
Our aim is to equip individuals, families, and community leaders with the knowledge, resources, and support systems necessary to identify warning signs, encourage open conversations about mental health, and facilitate access to professional help. We urge everyone to view, share, and like the videos, and to pass on to anyone they know who might be struggling with suicidal thoughts. Encourage them to engage with these materials, and most importantly, to seek professional assistance is a vital step in our collective effort to save lives and build a more supportive community.
In PE class or sports, we run suicides. That's a terrible word for it. I get it, what it means, but it's a terrible word for the people that have experienced that. Suicide is horrible. It leaves such hurt, and you have to live the rest of your life not knowing anything. Well, for most people, I'm imagining, because when suicide happens, it seems like it comes out of nowhere, and it's just something you don't want to experience if you don't have to. Hi, my name is Ruth Galanato, and I'm here to share my experience of having lost both my father and later one of my brothers through suicide. Well, it was a long time ago. Well, I was only 13 years old when my dad had taken his life. Life didn't seem any different for me. I was one of 6 kids, and I was going to school, and the house was busy, and I just remember it was a Monday, I think, and Dad didn't come home from work. A little bit cause for concern because that had never happened before. So it was a little bit, we all went to bed, did our things, and I think my mom probably tried to put us at ease, like, oh, maybe he got busy or something, and I don't know. We got up the next morning, we went to school as usual, and went to school, had a hockey game afterwards, came home from school, and Dad still wasn't home. He hadn't come home from work again. And so by this time, I think my mom had said something about somebody was looking for him. I remember a police car pulling into the driveway, and something didn't seem right. A policeman had never come to our house before. So police officers came into the house and talked with my mom first, and then I don't remember how the news got broken to us, but of course, we ranged in age from like 15 to 3. So those of us that could understand were right there. And, basically, I think at first, I just knew that Dad died. I didn't know how initially. But later, My mom felt the need for us to know how he had died because we would probably always be wondering. Fast forward, I'm married and have 4 children. My husband and I were missionaries and we were serving overseas. And I have a brother, the oldest one of our children, of my brothers and sisters, is deaf. My mom had a heart attack and had died, but left the house to my brother. So he was at the house by himself a lot. I don't know a lot of details, but I just know in his deafness, sometimes I think he felt isolated, even though he had a job and he had friends and he hung out with other deaf people. He wasn't a loner, but I know he could get locked up in his thoughts sometimes. I remember the day I turned on the computer in the Philippines, waited for the email to load, and I saw one from my sister who lives in Florida, and I thought, that's unusual. She doesn't email me often. And I read the note that my brother had taken his life. And again, all those old feelings of what it was like when my father had taken his life, how that felt, it all came back like in a moment. So I had to make the trip back to the US by myself. It was good though, because I was able to be with my other siblings who are older now, have experienced some life, and we were able to actually turned out to be a little therapeutic because it brought up things that we had never talked about before. And that really actually helped a whole lot. When you first hear that news, everything just stops. I mean, everything's going on around you, but you feel like everything is just frozen. You're just trying to get a grip on this. And I think it's the days and months afterwards where you have time to process. The initial grief is just not more than you can bear, but you're just trying to get through the grief of having lost your dad and wondering, how are we gonna continue to live? Who's gonna take care of things and that kind of thing? I don't think a day goes by. I used to wonder, is there ever gonna be a time in life where I can go a whole 24 hours without thinking about my dad and what happened? And I didn't think that day would ever come, and it didn't for a long, 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 long time. Just every day there's remembrances, which is not a bad thing, but as I grew as a kid, from a teenager into an older teenager to a young adult, I began to wonder, did our dad stop loving us? Because like, how could you love someone and do that? It just didn't seem reasonable. I think I went through a phase where I wondered, was it something that any of us did that caused that? And then as I grew, I realized that was not true. You hear about so-and-so's father had a heart attack, or so-and-so's mom got sick and died, and you don't think about how it affects the family so much. And now it's happened to me. And I do remember, it was like, wow, we have 2 parents and one of them's gone. Whenever my mom came home late, it was terrible. We were at the house by ourselves, and you're just thinking, oh no, what if something happened? What's gonna happen? And it was terrifying. And my mom, of course, life is life and you're gonna be late sometimes. And that's before cell phones and all that. So you just have to wait to find out what, if they're coming or not. But I just remember for a while, that was difficult. You're just terrified that something happened. I remember that very vividly. Back in the day, when my father had died, I didn't know anybody else that had died by suicide. And so you feel like you're walking around with, like there's a booger hanging out your nose or something. Everyone's aware of it except for you. And I didn't realize how many times I was gonna have to tell people parts of my story, because it's not, if you said the word suicide, the room goes cold. Nobody knows what to say. And you're stuck there like, do I have to tell these people about what happened to my family? It was so hurtful and so private and so personal. Like, you're just kind of afraid what the response will be. And I don't think I could have handled it if someone would have responded in a way that just seemed disrespectful. And I guess I was afraid to go down that road. Now we're adults and we're reliving the past to a degree, but we've had some time to grow and experience some life. And We wondered about some things, but we were able to laugh and cry together, and for the first time openly just talk about the whole situation. And we had never done that in all those years, because back in the day you just didn't talk about it. You kind of had to stuff it inside. Not that someone told you to do that, you just felt like as soon as I start talking, people just get deer in the headlights and they don't know what to say, and I don't know what to say. I'm trying to process this myself. And so having been able to experience it again as an adult, not that I wanted that, it was helpful for all of us to be able to laugh and cry together and to sometimes share what we remembered and kind of get some answers within ourselves, if that makes any sense. I loved my dad. I didn't grow up in the kind of family where we were saying, I love you every day, but we were loved. And I think we knew that. I didn't ever doubt that my mom and dad loved us. Yes, we yelled and screamed at each other like every other family and had our weak spots, but we also played ball together. I used to love it when my dad, in the summertime, we would go into the field next to our house and he would take a softball and we'd have the bat. And as a kid, I just thought my dad could belt that ball further than anyone in the world. We just loved to have Dad hit that ball and watch how far it went. He taught me to roller skate. I always think about that sometimes, that my dad taught me how to roller skate. He just went around with me until I got the hang of it. He was a good dad, and he was a quiet man, worked hard, and I love my dad. I'll never know what life would have been like if he had not taken his life. It would be fun to see what he would have been like as a grandpa. I'll not know that, and I'm not going to dwell on that, but he was a good dad, and he loved us, and something got the best of him. I learned sign language because I had a brother that was deaf, and that's been a blessing over the years. He had a good sense of humor. He had a dark sense of humor and made us laugh a lot. His life was hard, but I think I loved his sense of humor, and I do know that he, even in his later years, several years before he had taken his life, he had committed his life to Jesus. That gave me great solace when I learned that he had taken his life. And my dad is with Jesus too. Just because you're a Christian and you've trusted Christ as your Savior doesn't mean you don't have problems. And for some reason, life got the best of them. But I know I'll see them again one day in heaven. And I love my brother's sense of humor, and I loved my dad because he was my dad. There is hope. There is a way out. Suicide leaves such a wake of hurt and grief and never getting any answers that there's hope. You gotta find somebody that you trust and somebody who's willing to help.
Thank you for staying with us and watching this video. If something you've heard has struck a chord in your heart or in your mind and you'd like to learn more or talk with somebody about some of these topics and issues, we encourage you to reach out to one of the many organizations that we've listed. They focus on helping people with this subject. Many of themselves have experienced these very same concerns. If you know anyone who may find this video beneficial, please share it with them and encourage them to have a listen, or even better, listen to it with them. Thank you very much.